All right, here's a quick little video for me Year 11s based around acid and base theory. This is about Bronsted and Lowry acids and bases. The definition here that these guys came up with is the fact that acids, they donate hydrogen ions. That's the key definition for this, and as long as you know that acids donate hydrogens, you kind of know that the bases do the opposite and they receive hydrogens, and you can answer the rest of these questions based around that. So the first question here talked about identifying what the conjugate acid and base pairs are. So that means that if you have an acid, it's going to donate a hydrogen and it's going to form your conjugate base. So in here, I've got underlined the answers here, but everything underlined in blue is your acid and it forms your conjugate base. So if I have a look at the first one here, you can see this hydrogen carbonate ion. It has lost its hydrogen to form carbonate, and it's given it to the ammonia, and that's going to form the ammonium ion. So that means that this this hydrogen carbonate is acting as the acid, and then this carbonate here is the conjugate base. So this is the acid forming the conjugate base. That means that this thing here, the ammonia, is forming the conjugate acid. This is the base forming the conjugate acid because it's gained the hydrogen. The acid's donated the hydrogen, the base has accepted the hydrogen. The acid formed the conjugate base, and the base formed the conjugate acid. Let's have a look at the next one. Underlined in blue is our acid, our hydrochloric acid. It has donated the hydrogen and formed the conjugate base, which is chlorine, the chloride ion here. The water in this case is acting like a base because it's accepting the hydrogen and forming the hydronium ion, H3O positive. So therefore the water here is our base forming the conjugate acid. And you can do the rest of it for the rest of it here anyway. It's all pretty straightforward. You're just looking for that donation of the hydrogen ion. If I move over the top of the page, this question here talked about write the formulas for the conjugate bases. So the conjugate bases, as we said before, are formed when our acid donates the hydrogen. So basically a conjugate base is when the acid has lost a hydrogen. So therefore it will become, obviously, instead of H2, PO4, so instead of dihydrogen phosphate, you're going to have hydrogen phosphate, HPO4, 2 negative. Notice when it's donated the hydrogen, this was 1 negative, now it's turned into 2 negative because the hydrogen that's been donated is a hydrogen ion, a hydrogen positive. Likewise with all the other ones here, the hydrogen cyanide, or the cyanic acid maybe I think it's called, it has donated the hydrogen to form the cyanide ion. So therefore the hydrogen's been lost.